Hello students, okay. Today we will see Manju Kapoor's famous novel The Difficult Daughters. Manju Kapoor, the novelist, she is born in 1948. Manju Kapoor is an Indian novelist. Her first novel is Difficult Daughter won 1999 Commonwealth Writers Prize Best First Book Europe and South Asia. She is a teacher at English University under the name Manju Kapoor Dalmia. She teaches English at Delhi University under the name Manju Kapoor Dalmia. She studied and received MA in 1972 from uh, Dalhousie University in Halifax, Canada, and she wrote very famous novel, and the name of the novel is Difficult Daughters. Her first of all we will see the her major works. Her major work is Difficult Daughters. Difficult Daughters. Then A Married Woman in 2003. After that in 2006 there is a Home. Then The Immigrant in 2008. Custody in 2011. Shaping the World, Women Writer on Themselves, etc. Okay, so it is a famous work of Manju Kapoor, and our today's topic is Difficult Daughters. Our today's topic is Difficult Daughters. Now after that we will see the what is a exact story of Difficult Daughters. It is the exact story of Difficult Daughters. So Difficult Daughters is the novel. This charming novel is about educating daughters and facing the consequences when they learn to think for themselves and begin to question the basic value of society. What are the basic value of society? And when the girls raise her voice about getting more education and educating daughter, it's not a easy task in ancient period. So it is the old conflict between the demand of modernity and tradition enacted this time in an upright, high-minded, middle-class Punjabi family in the 1930s, and then the drama unfold the intelligent and observing sympathy. After that we go towards the story. The author brings together three generations of women. Difficult Daughters, it is a story of three generation of women. It is a story, ये जो story है ये three generation को दिखाती है. That is a narrator who is a diverse. The central character of this novel is Veermati. Veermati, her mother, who marries an already married professor. First of all she fall in love with a professor, and then the professor is already married. तो वो उसको पसंद करती है. शी इज़ फॉल इन लव. उसको प्रोफेसर से प्यार हो जाता है जो ऑलरेडी मैरिड एंड हैविंग अ चिल्ड्रन. Kasturi, her grandmother, who come to term with the difficult daughters. Then the three generation of women are very different. The book start with the daughter at her mother's funeral filled with the conflict. ये नॉवल शुरू हो जाता है स्टार्टिंग में उसके वीरमती की मदर मतलब जो है उसके क्रिमिटेशन से, मतलब उसके फ्यूनरल से, एंड रियलाइजेशन दैट शी डिडेंट रियली नो हर मदर. वो अपने मदर को कभी पहचान ही नहीं पाई. What comes next is her journey across India and Pakistan in search of some kind of a closure. So this is how the story starts. Here the grandmother has had some education but sent away from her family when she marries into a good Hindu one. And constantly pregnant, she relies more and more on her oldest daughter Veermati. While Veermati does her duty, she is starving for some sign of affection from her mother, but one is forthcoming. Her mother is just too worn out, give of herself emotionally. Her daughter studies longer despite her education being interrupted by the family too. She is encouraged by a visit of glamorous city dwelling cousin who had chosen study after then marry. So when we studied the famous novel written by Manju Kapoor, Difficult Daughters, I would like explain the whole story in short. What is the exact story? We will go through that. Is here Veermati, a 17 years old fine art student. Veermati एक 17 साल की लड़की है. And when the novel start, she fall in love with her neighbor Harish, an Oxford written English professor who is already married, having children, and here it is a complicated kind of a tussle start that between her love and desire for education. Veermati impressed with the Shakuntala, her cousin sister. She tells Veermati how women in Lahore are independent and lead their own life. और वीरमती अपने कज़िन शकुंतला से, अपने कज़िन सिस्टर से थोड़ी इम्प्रेस है, जो उसे बताती है, वीरमती को बताती है कि कैसे लाहौर में वुमेन इंडिपेंडेंट है, वो अपने लिए सोचती है, वो कैसे अपना लाइफ लीड कर रही है. एंड then meanwhile Veermati also in awe of her roommate Swarna also. She live with the roommate Swarna, and Swarna is a very bold girl, and she participated in Satyagraha movement also. So she also impressed with that character also. So Veermati is married to a professor, and because she is in love with him, and Veermati's love rival is the professor's wife, a barely illiterate woman chosen for him as a child. She tries to please her husband, and a man who barely think of her and understandable doesn't like the she tries to be a good wife as she has been taught sadly, and realizing both women suffer at the hand of man who wants in his cake and to eat it, not caring about the consequences. So Veermati is there are more thing or more important than marriage. Here is a famous quote that the one thing that I had wanted was not to be like my mother. One thing that I had wanted was not to be like my mother. So this is how the story take place. So here the novel is a portrait of one and then two countries through the lives of women. The struggle for independence and education in two countries, finding their feet in difficult post independence era. So, Veermati is a character. We call it that. She is a firm character. She is a heroine of this novel. It is a wonderfully gripping story by Manju Kapoor. That she has captured the Veermati's conflict between her duty for her family and her desire for education in a pre-independence era. And unfortunately the other characters are dead and wooden, especially the professor. So what are the major theme of this novel? The difficult daughter. There is an endless argument between the education versus marriage, and nobody listened to Veermati. Second is that she struggled to acquire higher education and self-dependence. She had shamed her family, refused marriage, and she never wanted to marry. But in Indian tradition, marriage is an important and a essential part of life. So the marriage in society is a major issue in difficult daughters. Okay, remaining story we will see in the next lecture.